all these things are connected, right? And so you want a job that pays you well so you can have savings and buy a house so that it will increase in value because at some point you're going to retire.
Or you hope to.
You hope to.
You hope to.
So we talk to people about that. Let's give a listen about planning for retirement.
I'm Michael Turner and I'm 23 years old. The career I'm going into is not really one where there tends to be a lot of great benefit packages and your company doesn't necessarily take care of you. So I've actually been purposely considering how I'm going to plan my retirement fund.
Retirement.
My name is Jeff Tetzloff. As long as you can keep saving money, I think one day interest rates will go up and people will be able to actually just hold on to it and save it, and hopefully that'll work out for them. But
right now, I'm pretty concerned. I was paying into RSPs before automatically off my paychecks, but I decided to stop that because I needed the extra money for my bills and everything.
I'm a little bit worried, but not too worried.
it's a concern. I'm 37 and I've got probably enough saved up to live jobless for a year, but that's pretty far away from retirement. I spend it all on vacations and snowboarding, so.
You know, let's talk about Jeff for a second.
I get Jeff.
30,
I
yeah,
get Jeff.
so do I, right?
You do, yeah.
But think about that. He's got enough money to last a year.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. It's so you spend it on snowboarding, right? I mean, you do what you do.
Yeah.
You got to live at the same time, but at the same time, you got to keep your mind, your eye on the long game, right?
When we talk about sort of registered pension plans, those sort of golden retirements, we actually know that fewer and fewer Canadians are actually going to be having these when it comes to their registered pension plan. And if you just look at a chart from the 70s, 1977 to just a couple of years ago, you can see the steady decline in the amount of Canadians who have these registered retirement savings plans. So that is definitely one thing that we know younger Canadians won't be able to rely on the same way that an older generation has to. That number is going down. And a way to deal with that is the Canadian government just recently sort of beefed up the CPP to try to make up for that and provide a little bit more stability for younger Canadians when they finally reach retirement. But a lot of it has to do with just the inability to sort of save right now, and that goes back to the housing and the employment. Yeah, exactly.
But they still have big plans for their retirement, vacations, probably more snowboarding if he can manage it in his 60s or 70s. But yeah, in terms of saving, so more than half of millennials in this recent survey, they said that they'd like to retire by the time they turn 60, but only a quarter of them think that that is actually a realistic possibility. Most of them expect to work well into their 60s, even their 70s. And there is data to show that 1 out of 8 people who are older than 65 still work. And that's up
but
from
we're all living longer too.
Well,
right?
it's
I mean,
true.
you can
it's
work.
True.
It's a different world now
Yeah.
on that aspect than it was a couple of generations ago.
Well, yeah, we're in a tough position, but I think you have to be aware of where you want to be when you're 65 and how you're going to get yourself there.
And use those part-time jobs and the unpaid internships to hope to buy a place.
And hope that place goes up in value.
I don't know whether to be, depressed or optimistic about.
Every generation, when we speak to some of the, older people, every generation had its own struggles. This is the struggle for our generation, and I like to be optimistic about it. I think a lot of the people I see and the friends you talk to, we are still optimistic. We understand there are struggles and it's a different time and it's a different ball game, but that doesn't mean we can't find ways to work around it. So yes, it could be a little bit daunting when you look at the numbers and the facts, but I think there is an energy, an entrepreneurial spirit from the younger generation, and we'll make this work.
Thanks for talking. Thanks. This has been enjoyable.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you. No worries.